Ozzy Osbourne and John Osbourne is two different people. John Osbourne is talking to you now. But if you want to be Ozzy Osbourne, you know, it's like takes over.
Somebody came up to me and said somebody else was taken over by a demon or gave themselves to a demon. First, I'd have to ask, what do you mean by demon? There's a supposition that when you talk about a demon in Christian culture, you're talking about a distinct evil versus good sort of dichotomy. Most cultures don't have that absolute good, absolute evil sort of concept. Even the Jews, the ancient Jewish people, and Jesus would not have thought about a place called hell. If you look at the Old Testament, basically there is no hell. There is union with God. There's being separated from God. But in general, the way that question was asked, given himself over to a demon, is different than someone taken over by a demon. I don't believe people can be taken over by a demon, sort of an external force, forcing their way in. I do believe that you can allow certain tendencies that are more base, I don't like to say evil, but more base, into your life willingly. And the whole thing is the way the ancient Jewish people viewed demons and angels was they were flip side of the same coin. There was necessary dark, there was necessary light, and that was pretty much how the Jewish people probably would have looked at it, light versus dark. It was only after you had St. Augustine try to bring Platonic philosophy, Aristotelian philosophy in, where they brought in the Greek understandings of spirit was good and flesh was evil, dichotomy. King Solomon was known to talk to demons, to conjure to demons, elicit the assistance of demons, and the same thing as angels, with angels. There's even a book called The Keys of Solomon, and the lesser book, Keys of Solomon. It's all about conjuring demons and conjuring angels. So King Solomon is dealing with demons all the time. That just seems very odd and strange from the Christian perspective. But if we start looking at it as different types of dark and light interacting, sort of in a yin and yang sort of sense, meaning that you can't have light without dark, and you can't have dark without light. And you can also say where the brightest light is, it is the darkest dark, darkest shadows. And to some degree, that I think that's true. So I would say that it's very possible that somebody who you may say is giving themselves over to demons maybe has let themselves enter into more dark or base or animalistic tendencies. Sexuality, focusing in on all the physicalness of the world. It's not evil in the sense that Christians believe in evil. It's just recognizing the animalistic parts of who we are. And if you deny that we have these animalistic tendencies, that you deny that we have the dark, things can get seriously screwed up in your life. You have to be able to embrace the dark, maneuver the dark, control the dark, in the same way that you need to recognize, maneuver, and control the light. I think the ancient Jewish people probably would have said that there's nothing immoral about darkness. There's nothing immoral about light. Where you get immorality is when you have an imbalance of one or the other. And so when you look at people, sometimes you might look at them and go, oh, that person, quote unquote, is evil because they really focus on the baser things in life. And probably a better way to look at that is say that person is out of balance. The person is focusing too much on the light or in the dark. Likewise, if we have somebody who focuses too much on the light, they can be just as out of touch. You have to be able to acknowledge the dark and be able to interact with the dark. Think of somebody walking the streets and being able to interact with only people of the light. They ignore or despise all the people on the quote-unquote dark side of the world. The true master is the person who can walk down the street and engage both the light and the dark in people and meet them where they are, and within themselves have a balance of light and dark. So recently Ozzy Osbourne died, or his real name, John Osbourne. People say, oh, he gave himself over to Satan, and that's why he's so successful. Reality is he's probably embracing both light and dark. He's found balance within himself. That being said, Ozzy Osbourne's a pretty dramatic guy, biting the heads off bats and stuff. I think that all that is theatrical. But also, you have to think about what kind of fortitude does it take to be able to engage that kind of darkness and still be able to live and be in the real world.
There's this thing called Wheel of Life. There's this thing called the Court of the Universe. There is a heaven. There is a hell. It's not bound by religion. There is evil and there is good here. We have choices